Next step, inner frame satin stitch. And that's going to be this dark red frame that goes, or satin stitch that goes all the way around this inner fabric. So I've got my machine all set to go, and I'll just push go, and we'll do that step. Really close satin stitch all the way around, and then it's going to come back around and it's going to do a really pretty little star decorative stitch over top of the satin. Alrighty, my red satin stitch and this really pretty little star stitch on top of it is all done. So now we're ready for our next step. Let's look at our directions. Next step, ooh, it's going to be the sewing machine. So I've threaded my black thread, put it in, and because I want my sewing machine to be black, and I've pulled up my bobbin thread, and now we're going to do the same thing with the sewing machine. It'll go around and satin stitch, and then it'll do a little star stitch. Satin stitching. That is for the hand wheel for the sewing machine. It's doing some tack down stitches which look kind of quirky, and then it'll come in and do the satin stitch. This is going to take 23 minutes to get all the way around the machine. And when that's done, we'll be back and we'll do the next step. Okay, next step is the thread, this thread here, and it also runs around the outside of this inner frame, and the wording. And it suggests here that you use two different colors, which you can, but I'm going to use gold for both. And I have pulled up my bobbin thread, and I'm all ready to start going with stitching the thread. and the wording will take about 5 minutes. We'll be back and we're almost finished. Okay, we're just about finished. We are getting ready to put the backing on now. That's our next step. Remove the hoop from the machine and tape the backing fabric to the hoop. And remember, in the beginning, it told us to fuse some lightweight interfacing to the back. So here's my backing, and I've got my interfacing on. And here's where I'm at so far. And I wanted to add here, I've made a whole set of these, and to save on stabilizer, each one I made, I just cut out the mug rug and pin new stabilizer on top of that so that I didn't waste all of this. So I'm going to turn it over and put my backing on, and I'll make sure that I'm covering all the areas. And you can see through it because the sunlight's coming through my door nearby here. And then I'm going to just tape the corners and make sure I'm still, and I don't like painter's tape very good, but that's what I've got. The tape that you can get from Kimberbell is the best there is. It's white and it's really sticky, but it doesn't leave any residue. And you can reuse it a few times. So there's that. Okay, now I need both my hands to rethread and rehoop, so I'll be back in just a second and we'll put the lining on the back. All right. Directions say cut away the excess fabric. So we're going to trim around the back and the front, and then we're going to put the hoop back on the machine and start the satin stitch around the outside edge. So here's mine. I've trimmed mine on the back and on the front. Now I'll put it back in the machine and start the satin stitch. This is the outside edge. This step takes 25 minutes. And then we'll go around and then it'll satin stitch and it'll do the star stitch like it did on the other satin stitching. And when this stitching is done, we'll come back and I'll show you how to trim it out of the hoop. step, and it's telling us to cut away the excess fabric, remove the hoop, front and back, and we've done our satin stitching around the edge, and it says remove from hoop, cut away the excess stabilizer, and use a cotton swab and warm water to dissolve any extra stabilizer left on the edges. So here's my design. I've taken my hoop out, and it's just sitting here on my lap. So I'm just going to use my sharp scissors and trim out away from here a little ways, so it'll leave a hole in my main stabilizer, and that way I can fold over a couple pieces of stabilizer and stick to pin down, and I can do another one of these in this same hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then I'll show you how to take the extra water-soluble stabilizer off. Well, we made it through. We're all done. And you can see that I have trimmed this really close, but not so close to where I caught any threads. You don't want to get too close. And I don't use warm water, I just use any water. And I get my Q-tip really soaked, and I go along the edge, and it just comes right off. And when my Q-tip gets gooey, I rinse it out a little bit and go a little farther. It just comes right off. And when you're done, you don't have to press this or anything. Projects like this do not really like steam. If you do press them, use a pressing cloth or something. But I don't use steam on these. And you can wash this then after a while. If it gets dirty and you need to wash it, you can wash it. And that's what my first one looks like. And this is my hoop after I cut it out. So now I want to make another one. I've got enough fabric left, I can make another one. So I'm just going to cut off 2 pieces of Vilene and lay over this hole, and I'll just pin them around the outside edge here, and I'll just take this to my machine and make another mug rug. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've picked up some tips, and I hope you have a great day.